The Talented Mr. Ripley stars Matt Damon as Tom Ripley. Set in the late 1950s, a wealthy shipbuilder who is led to believe Tom attended Princeton with his son offers to pay him to travel to Italy and bring his playboy son Dickie, played by Jude Law, back home to America. Dickie and his beautiful girlfriend, played by Gwyneth Paltrow, never suspect the extremes Ripley will go to make their lifestyles his own.
Everybody should have one talent. What's yours?
Forging signatures, telling lies, impersonating practically anybody.
That's three. Nobody should have more than one talent. Okay, do an impression.
Now? Huh. The only talent my son has is for cashing his allowance.
What?
Oh, I like to sail. Believe me, I love to sail. Instead, I make boats.
Stop!
Other people sail them.
It's too much. You're making all the hairs on my neck stand up.
Oh, yes, jazz. Oh, jazz, let's face it, it's just insolent noise.
I feel like he's here. Horrible, like the old bastard's here right now.
Good.
That's brilliant. Brilliant. How do you know him?
I met him in New York.
Marge, this is scary. You gotta hear this. Meet my father, Herbert Richard Greenleaf the First.
Pleasure to meet you. Dickie's made a fine catch.
Uncanny.
I know Emily thinks so.
I don't get it.
It's uncanny.
Could you ever conceive of going to Italy, Tom, and bringing him back?
What?
I'd pay you if you would go to Italy, persuade my son to come home. I'd pay you $1,000.
We stayed up to midnight talking about this movie, The Talented Mr. Ripley. The discussions that this film, Matt's going to cause, and that's what's great. It's an audience film, agreed?
Yeah, definitely. And that's the goal in making a movie, I think, is to make something that's thought-provoking. And I figure you get more bang for your buck if the movie stays with you.
And you know, I'm only kidding that I manage you. I couldn't be mad at you. I know you.
Yeah.
And you're a South Boston guy. No, you're so different than this character.
Yeah.
It's not you.
Right. Well, yeah, that was the big challenge of the role. I mean, there were obviously the physical things that, and that's just kind of like grunt work, you know. I have to run 6 miles a day. I can't eat this food. I have to, I have to learn how to play the piano, and that's just kind of a checklist a shopping list of things that you have to do every day. But I think at the heart of him is this tremendous loneliness, and I think that's something that's universal and that people really can relate to in their darker moments, that feeling of needing
I was
love.
a big fan in college. I read a lot of, in the 50s, a lot of F. Scott Fitzgerald stuff, and Americans at that time, a lot of my buddies were going to Europe to find themselves. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And people not knowing who they were.
Right.
A lot of that in this film, and even though it's beautifully set in Italy, which is a character in the film, it's an American tragedy.
Yeah.
Agreed?
And it's literally an American tragedy. The Dreiser novel, I mean, if you think about that, which then became A Place in the Sun, I mean, it touches on those issues of class also, and that same way that Montgomery Clift character was what he was willing to do to try and get this. His feeling, his certainty that this elusive happiness was somehow contained in this life. Mm-hmm. His absolute conviction that was the case is what was his undoing, and that's Tom's undoing too. In a lot of ways.
We know Tom's background in this film.
Yeah.
What were his talents?
Well, I think his main his talents are that he has too many, and he's talented enough to get away with it because he is sensitive to other people and is aware of what they're thinking, and so he can pull this juggling act and keep this ruse alive.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, what you realize is that that's really not getting away with anything, and that he's stuck with his own conscience, which is far more terrible than any prison could be.
Very bright, could impersonate, and would have been a good actor.
Yeah, would have been a very good actor.
But very good actor. And I'm getting this, and it's time to wish you a happy holidays and tell everybody, don't put it on your list, The Talented Mr. Ripley. Run to see it now.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Matt.
You bet. Good to see you again.